Aloha, everybody. Welcome to our Heart to
Hello.
Heart Wellness and Abundance Wednesday team or Wednesday call. This is something that we've been doing for, I guess, now a couple months, ever since all this crazy Corona thing started and quarantine. This has been a really incredible way to connect. I think we've had hundreds of people over the week share some amazing stories, and it's just been such a pleasure to hear people's stories of positivity, of health, wellness, financial independence. And so if this is the first time that you're joining us, you are in for a treat. I just want to welcome you to the call. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. My name is Julie Mai. I come to you from the island of Kauai over in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I know that we have many people from all over the world on this call, which is such a cool thing. Technology is so cool that we can gather like this and be from all over the world. So you're going to hear some stories today that are going to be very inspiring. They're going to be different. At the end of the calls, usually you leave very uplifted and happy. And so we're just grateful that you're here. You're going to hear about health, wellness. You're going to hear a little bit about business. I like to say the business side isn't for everybody, but if you really consider yourself to have an open mind, about possibly better health for you and your family, with what's going on in the world right now, I think everyone can agree that having more than one income stream isn't such a bad idea. Maybe you're just looking for better, more meaningful connections with people. And that's really what we find with this group of individuals, with this community that we've created with what we have. So I'm going to tell a little bit about my story, then I'm going to pass it over to some dear friends of mine. I'm going to go all the way back to about 2004. That's when I was newly married. My husband and I just began a family, and we were both working really hard as employees, just trying to make ends meet. For those of you in Hawaii, it's very, very expensive. We knew that we did employees forever. And I've always had an entrepreneurial heart, an entrepreneurial spirit. My mom was an entrepreneur, and I knew that we wanted to start a business, and hopefully that would take us to our dreams. That was the goal, is to be able to build something that would give us more time freedom with our kids, more independence, that we could possibly build a home, buy a home one day. And so we started working on this dream, on this business. And it took a couple of years to get off the ground, for us to actually make any profits with it. And we became pretty successful. I'm going to say that we worked really hard. The money was coming in, but you guys, anybody that has their own business or, works really hard for somebody else, that it's a lot of work. And we were just putting in hours and day after day after day of hard work. And yes, the money was coming in, but what I realized is the reason why I started the business wasn't giving me what I actually wanted out of the business. And that was just more time with my kids. And I remember that I remember this moment so vividly, that a girlfriend of mine called and she said, "Julie, the waves are really good. We're going to the beach. Let's go." And I looked up at my bulletin board and I saw all the lists and the deadlines and all of the to-dos. And I just said, I can't go again. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She's like, "How about if I come and get your kids?" And I thought, I said, "Sure, come and get my kids." But at that same time, I remember literally crying about it, because I realized that someone else was raising my kids. Somebody else was taking my kids to the beach. Yes, it felt good to be successful, but I was not being a successful mom. I wasn't being a present mom. I wasn't, I had kids to enjoy them and to be with them, not to pass them on to someone else. And in that moment, I realized that if I didn't change, nothing would change. And so I had this moment of like, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what, but something needs to change. And I tell people, be careful for what you ask for, because sometimes things will show up in unusual packages. And I'd say not more than 2 weeks later, a friend of mine sent me a text message, and she said, "Julie, I have something incredible to share with you. These healthcare products are changing my family's life. Do you want to come learn about them?" And of course, a little bit of skepticism went up, some red flags, because I knew this girl. She was a professional surfer. She was a musician in her life. She'd done a lot of things, but I didn't look at her as a healthcare, supporter, advocate, seller of products. So I was intrigued, a little bit, skeptical, but because I respected our friendship, because I knew and trusted her, I said, "Sure." And I texted her back. I said, I'll come. Can I bring a friend?" And she said, "Absolutely." And we went and we heard this presentation, maybe similar to how you were invited to this call. And I was blown away. I was blown away by the science. I was blown away by the authenticity of the presentation and what I was learning and hearing. And I realized that wow, because I had an open mind to go and listen to something a little bit different, this could possibly be the answer. Not really knowing fully at the full extent at that time, but I was curious enough to where I was going to go home and do my own research. And what the presenter was talking about was an idea called nutrigenomics. And if you haven't heard that word before, it's the scientific study of how nutrients affects our genes, and how you can take things, our product and specifically is called Protandem. You can take this product and it will activate your cells. It's a cellular activator, so that we turn the pathways on and we start to make more of the good stuff like antioxidants and glutathione. If you don't know what that is, it's a really important, and our product increases it by 300%. And he was sharing his testimony and his story, and I was so blown away by how real he was. And I just was really excited about the potential. So I went home and I studied and I did my research, you guys, and I was like, wow, not only did this company say it did all this stuff, but there was this third-party validation by universities and different scientific associations that were doing peer-reviewed science on our product. And that's a huge deal to have peer-reviewed third-party validation science. So it intrigued me. I decided I was going to start taking the product, and I also decided that I was going to look into the business side of it, because they mentioned a little bit about a business, and I knew that if this did what it said it did, it was a really big deal. And what I found when I did that research, you guys, is I found that some of the most smart, successful people in the world support this type of business model. Warren Buffett owns network marketing companies. Tony Robbins teaches about network marketing. We have Jim Rohn. We have Robert Kiyosaki. If you don't know who that is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like I learned all these things, and I learned about leveraged income, how you could get paid while you sleep. And I just remember thinking, like, never in a million years I think I would do this, but this is the answer I was looking for. So I'm happy to say 7 years down the road, I have 4 children now, and I was able to step out of that linear wheel and into a leveraged wheel. And I've been able to be a stay-at-home mom, present, go through life. Life happens to us all. I've had to go through some hard life, but I haven't had to worry about me. I haven't had to worry how I was going to pay bills. I was going to table for my kids. I'm a little bit more. It's been pretty incredible, this journey. So I just ask that you have an open mind when you hear these stories and really hear how incredible this information is. So I'm going to pass it over to our first presenter tonight, this afternoon. She's a good friend. She's going to share a little bit more about the science piece of what we do, or what we have our hands on. Her name is Jennifer Alice Murray. She is a cookbook author. She is a vegan chef, or she's just an incredible chef. She used to own a restaurant here on Kauai that was one of the most amazing restaurants ever. So Jennifer Murray, if you will please grace us with your wisdom and talk a little bit about what you talk about so well, that'd be great.
Thanks, Julie. Yes, I actually have a lot I would love to say. Like Julie said, our company puts out science-based products. In fact, I would say our company is almost a little obsessive about science backup and proof. And so we do a lot of our work around science. And I'm not a scientist, I'm a chef, I'm a food alchemist, right? But the science doesn't change. It's the same every time I look at it. So after 7 years of doing this, I can confidently speak a little bit about the science. What we're mostly targeting with our company is aging and the aging process, something that I think our culture tends to just sort of go, I don't want to think about it. You know, like if we're honest with ourselves and we take a moment to envision like what our old age is going to be like, it's sort of like you don't want to think about it, right? Because you're a little bit afraid that your health span is not going to match your lifespan, right? Like this is your lifespan, but your health span's here, and there's like this sketchy period here that you don't want to think about what might be, you know, genetics that's waiting for you, right? So what we're doing with this company is encouraging people to face that now, because what we do is we build a foundation of wellness. We create an environment within our cells of vibrant health. And so we call ourselves biohackers because we're essentially out here hacking into our genetic process on a biological level to just and doing it all naturally. You know, we're part of a category. We don't consider ourselves a supplement because we're not supplementing nutrition. We're not supplementing a deficiency. We're activating a health process. and we call it nutrigenomics. So it's basically using nutrition and nutrients to affect your genetic code, right? A lot of us are aware that we have DNA. We know that we have genes. We know that those genes might have some scary stuff. And what science has been learning in the last couple of decades is that it's actually our epigenetic world, our epigenome, that is carrying out that blueprint. DNA is just a blueprint. DNA does nothing. It's a library. It just sits there. But our epigenome is the environment around the DNA, and it's doing all the work. So what we primarily focus on with our company is these 3 products that we call the Trice energizer. It's called Protandem. Protandem is the name of the brand. It's about cellular activation, right? Kind of tapping into using cell receptors, picking up the nutrients. These are all just very simple, very gentle, natural formulas that help create an environment within your cells to properly carry out the best expression of your genes. Because what happens with pollution, with stress, with bad diet and exercise choices is a lot of pressure and an icky environment for those cells. But when we get in there with the proper nutrients, we can kick out the toxins and get a lot of waste removal, etc., going on. And we have 3 different products because we're activating 3 different cellular pathways. We're activating the NRF2 pathway, the NRF1 pathway, and the NAD pathway. So what I'm going to mostly focus on right now is the NRF2 pathway, because we have built some other products around that. And NRF2 was only discovered in 1994, right? And then by 2015, I think, 2015 or 2016, Washington State University releases a study that says, and I quote, and I guarantee you, you do not hear scientists and doctors talking like this very often. They release a study that says NRF2, I wrote it down so I could make sure I was saying it right. NRF2 is likely to be the most important health promoting approach into the foreseeable future. NRF2 may be the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Can't make that stuff up. We didn't say that. That's what's going on out there, right? Like Julie said, we have dozens at this point of peer-reviewed research on our NRF2 product alone. NRF1 and NAD, a little bit newer in the game. If you want to wait 15 or 20 years for the studies, go ahead, but I want to be ahead of that curve, right? And we already have our tests proving that efficacy. But what we've done with the NRF2 pathway is we've also developed a skincare line. And I want to point out the skincare line because it happens to be on sale this month, and that only happens once a year. And so I don't want people to miss it. What we're doing with NRF2 is cleaning up oxidative stress. And what oxidative stress is, the whole reason you even know about antioxidants is because you need to combat oxidative stress. Free radicals produce an icky cellular environment of waste, and antioxidants are waste removal. And what you're doing with the NRF2 pathway is basically leaving antioxidants in the dust, releasing your cell's own antioxidants, which are approximately 1 million times per second stronger than antioxidants. That's a whole other story, right? So what we have with this skincare line is NRF2 directed into our skin, right? Our skin is our largest organ, and it's doing so much for our body besides temperature control and everything else that it does, including, of course, protecting us from the germy world that we live in. And for us, a lot of us, it's something we automatically correlate with aging, right? None of us want to get wrinkles. It's not the best thing to admit, but like we all kind of picture that old age and we're thinking, what can I do about that? And wrinkles and the stress in your skin is caused by oxidative stress damage. So what we've done with this company, and I am someone who didn't actually really even use very much face care products, because when I was younger, I had really bad acne and it took all of my 20s to get over it, because dermatologists, I felt like, had really messed up my skin and my skin balance. I just didn't know who to trust. I didn't know what to do about it. So what I living out here in Hawaii, I used to put avocados on my skin. I used to put coconut oil, on my skin, and that's what I trusted. And when we first came out with this skincare line, I was ambivalent about jumping into that market, and I actually got to speak one-on-one with the dermatologist that invented this skincare line. And I asked her about it. I told her about my coconut oil and my natural products, and what she said to me blew my mind. She was like, I'm sure that you're really happy with the results that you're getting from using things like that, because the outside layers of your skin are going to be nourished and healthy. But the damage, sun damage, and all of the health of your skin is actually taking place at the fourth layer of your skin, which is called the dermis. And that's where all the new skin cells are being created. So if you have problems, on your skin, what you need to do is get into the fourth layer of your skin, and you cannot do. She's like, you need botanical extracts. You need to take out from the plant what it is that's having that effect, make it tiny, tiny, tiny enough to get into the fourth layer of your skin. And she was like, go ahead and put every ingredient that's in these products into Google, and you will find they might have scary long names, but they're botanical extracts. She said that, and she was like an elder woman, and she had a lot of experience in the industry. She was actually famous for creating certain like wrinkle creams and whatever. And she said, generally what I do is I create a formula for a company. They take the formula and then they just take out all the great botanical ingredients and they insert cheap ingredients and put it out on the market. And LifeVantage didn't do that. They accepted my formulas and they put out the best product possible. So I was in. And so I just want you to know that it's out there, reversing sun damage and keeping your largest organ super healthy. And it just happens to be on sale once a year around Mother's Day. So if you're anything like me and you happen to be aging, I promise you'll be thrilled with the results. I am 45 years old and consistently mistaken for being much younger. Yes, and we're actually doing a double giveaway on official school team and giving a prize in raffle anyone who does purchase one of the sales.
Thank you so much, Jam, for sharing the skincare science too, because a lot of times we forget, because the Bertanen family is so incredible. We forget to talk about how incredible true science in the skincare is. So thank you for that. And I will never go a day without it myself. It's definitely transformed my skin too. So next to our next guest is, I'm so excited to have her on. That text message that I received 7.5 years ago actually came from this beautiful, beautiful girl who I still every day thank her for taking a leap of faith and sending me that text. She is a two-time world champion longboard professional surfer. She's been a musician. She's an incredible mother of 3 children, which I know is her most treasured asset. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Daisy Shane Goodwin to the call to share a little bit of her story with us all.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Jen. I hope it's okay that I talk about the skin system, because we always focus on the incredible science that we have with our products and even the true science. But I'm just going to go into a testimony, if that's okay. I know we're coming into summer, and summer means more sun, especially here in Hawaii. And before I do, though, I need to let you know that we cannot say that we're going to cure your skin cancer. We cannot say that we're going to cure any of your diseases with our products, but just take a look and really start to dig in to see what we have our hands on, because people like Julie and myself, and I know Jennifer Alice Murray, people that thought they'd never do this are becoming professional network marketers, because the word of mouth business model works better than any other. It's just the way it goes. Look from the beginning of time with Jesus. I mean, it's literally the best way to get a point across because you trust someone enough. And that's why a lot of you are on this call today. So my thing, you know, I got into the business. I loved it. I loved the Pro Tandem. Then they come out with True Science. Now I've been in the sun my entire life. You know, becoming a professional athlete was sun up to sundown in the water, being an athlete. As amazing as it sounds, you can imagine the damage that I encountered with my skin. I remember with our first pregnancy, my husband and I was the one that was pregnant, but I got the craziest melasma where it was like these dark patches that I could not get to go away. And that was the first thing I noticed. After it was even like 3 weeks in, I started to notice that it started to go away and my skin started evening. And the reason why is because exactly what Jennifer said. It goes down to the 4th level, the dermis level, and restores it instead of fills it, which is what you do with over-the-counter things and most, you know, skincare. But because we're opening that NRF2 technology on our skin, it's absolutely incredible. The second thing I noticed was my dad, who I'm not sure why he gets them, but he gets like white spots kind of all over his arms. He thinks it's because he's builds with wood. He builds giant houses, and he thinks it was just from the treated wood. So he wore long sleeve shirts pretty much my entire life, you know, those Patagonia shirts. And I went to visit him and he had a short sleeve shirt on, and he goes, "Daughter, look." He goes, "I started using that anti-aging cream on my arms." And my dad is manly. My dad pulls his own teeth out with pliers. He smokes Camel non-filters. He drinks Jolt, you know, twice the sugar, 3 times the caffeine or whatever. He eats L&L every day. He's very, very unhealthy, but he's using this anti-aging cream. And he's making all these jokes about what his friends are thinking about him, but he goes and shows me and it's literally gone. So that you may not have some crazy story about stuff that needs to fall off your face or your arms, but here's the kicker. Is the thing that sent me over the edge was with my kids. We went to the beach, forgot the sunscreen. And Julie said, you know, I am a major mom. I'm like one of those moms that has everything packed, and I got the sunscreen and the water and the snacks for this time and the blanket and the towel and I'm just that kind of mom, but I forgot the sunscreen. And my kids got lobster red. So that night, I didn't even realize it was when the product first came out. I doused them with the anti-aging cream, and literally in the morning they woke up tan. So it's really a great testimony, and it sounds nice, but it's really about the science that we have our hands on. Now, I have friends that have literally built elite business centers just on the skin system, because skin is one of the most profitable ways to make money when you're going to look into business. And we have the foothold on it because we have the technology that really no one else has. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the business, because never in a million years, right, did I think I was going to be a network marketer. I was an athlete, a small business owner. I thought I was just, I had it all together, even though I was falling apart at the seams. Don't think that, your friend down the road that seems like she has it all together, we were falling apart at the seams. We were struggling, just like Julie, to survive, to make ends meet. My health was taking a toll. These products radically changed my husband's life, radically changed my life, my health, and then the business started to. So what I want you to think about before, and there's going to be a couple more people that share, at least 5 people that know 10 people that know 100 people that need these products. Most people won't drink more water, start a cleanse. Like my dad, he's very, I would call him kind of middle America-ish, just, I'm going to stick to what I do. I'm not going to change my health, but their health is deteriorating. People will take a pill though. And we have seen time after time after time of people saying how these products have changed their life. I know for me, my dark thoughts went away. I was sleeping like a baby. I had more energy right away. So listen to the rest of these stories. I'm so grateful that I was able to share today. And you guys, get with the person that invited you. This is information that you do not want to miss out on. In 2 years, this will not be the same opportunity. It's just the way it is. So thanks for having me. I'm going to stop my video, but I'm listening because my baby is starting to wake up. I hear him. So, thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. Thanks so much for sharing. Awesome. Yeah, you guys, it's so true. And I say that a lot. What Daisy says is, you know, we living in Hawaii, we are just, you know, a natural based community. We go to the beach, we eat well, we take care of ourselves for the most part. But when you look at the grander scheme of things, like she said, and I really got that in the beginning, is most people won't go out and shop at health food stores or get a gym membership or eat vegan or do whatever they need to do. But no, most people don't have a problem taking a supplement, a vitamin, or a pill. So that's why this is such a big deal. So I'm going to move right along. Thanks, Days, for your share. I'm going to introduce our next guest. We have Rusty Cottrell. He is a, happy to say, retired physical therapist thanks to this business. He is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the science, and he also has a tremendous testimony of not only the product, but the business side. So Rusty, if you will, take the mic and share with us a little bit.
Hey, thanks, Julie. You know, I never knew I would actually need this. I had no idea. I would just mind my own business in my office, my physical therapy office, and I was doing, you know, very well financially as far as that goes. But I had lost my retirement in 2009. I had no idea that, and you didn't either, that COVID was going to shut down our economy for actually a couple months or more. And had I been there, I actually retired in July of last year. Had I been in business with my overhead, it would have killed me. It would have just taken all my savings to exist, to pay the employees, to whatever, to try to keep things, you know, going. I mean, it's just like I've heard it so many times, and now I lived it. It's dig the well before you need it, and just like Julie shared as well, I had no idea how much I would need it. I'm just so thankful every day I wake up. I think how grateful I am for LifeVantage and what it's done for me. And being able to retire. I thought I was going to be able to, you know, have to go to Walmart and say, welcome to Walmart after I was too old for someone to come see me as a physical therapist. I was really not looking for a network marketing business. In fact, I kind of looked down at it a little bit, a little skeptical of that, but I just fell in love with the science of what we have. And as I began to share that, my belief, and then I actually saw the results of what this is and what it's done for me just personally. And just personal development. And then the friends that I've made that I would never have had before. It's absolutely an amazing upside to that I never expected. I want to share just a little bit about a true science story, since Jen mentioned true science. I'm 63 right now. So 6 years ago, when I first started this, I was taking the Protandim Nerf 2, and I was actually starting to use the skincare. My son was 30 years old at the time, and I had a 20-something daughter. I have like 7 kids, but just the 2 of them I'm talking about right now. They were having a discussion behind my back. I didn't hear what their conversation was at that time, but they were saying what a bummer it was to inherit my complexion. And like Daisy, I spent, you know, my dad was into water skiing, rafting, outdoor stuff. I was born before sunscreen, and so I had horrible skin. In fact, it would hurt to shower. Just the water hitting my face would actually hurt. And even if I wasn't in the sun for, let's say I went to the mainland, I was gone and wasn't even in the surfing or anything. I came back, people still think I was sunburned, just chronically sunburned. Anyway, I started using the True Science skincare, and I called my son on the phone, and I hit FaceTime by accident, and I noticed his face, and I go, "Hey, Thomas." You know what the first words out of his mouth were? "What happened to your face?" 2 weeks. And the phone, he could tell the difference. I mean, that was amazing. Anyway, so they're really thankful for True Science because they're looking at their future in my face. And one more thing. So I swim in the ocean 3 days a week here, and we have little jellyfish. They call them Portuguese men of war, and I get stung probably 3-4 times a year. And it was right in the early stages of the skincare. So I wasn't, you know, knowing more about it, but I knew that what NF2 activation does in Protandim is it turns on the genes that do certain specific things. And I knew that it would deal with the pain I was having. So I get stung by this Portuguese man of war. And because I was flying out to Florida that night on a night flight, I finished my swim for 20 more minutes. And so when I came in from the water, I was welted up. It was pain. It was one of the most painful ones I've ever had. And I had the skincare set in my car because I was loaning it to someone to try it. And I took it away from them, hoping that they would go, "I want that." You know, I took it away from them. I had it in my car. And I was so glad I had it in my car, because when I came in, I thought, skincare, NR2 activation, having less pain. I think I'll try it. So I put the skincare on my face, Julie, and in 5 minutes, the welts were gone and the pain was gone. So I'm a believer. I've used it ever since then. Debbie, my wife, got stung in the face. Same thing. So everyone I know of that has used that, it's absolutely amazing. So thanks for letting me share. I'm 6'5" at the Trice Energizer, but I had to share about True Science today. So.
I love it. Thank you so much. I keep one in my car too. I think it's for sunburns, for those of us living in the sun, it is definitely by far the most incredible sunburn reliever. And now we know jellyfish reliever too. So thank you for sharing that. Before I introduce Allison, our next presenter, you guys, Rusty brought up a really powerful point. And before I forget to share this at the end, I want to say this. He said that he was afraid that he might become a greeter at Walmart. And I want you guys to think about the economy and the world. And I read a statistic the other day that at age 65, 95% of 65-year-olds are either broke, still working, or dead. That's not a very good percentage. And then I also read another one that said in 2026, 1 in 5 individuals on the planet will be 65 or older. So I want you to ask yourself, what do 65-year-olds want most of when they're 65? Health. They want good health, and they want to be able to retire and have a little bit of financial stability. So I love that we have kind of the whole picture. And I love what Rusty shared, that because he said yes to this and did something a little bit different, he doesn't have to be greeting at Walmart. So I'm going to pass it over, and I'm so grateful for that as well. Pass it over to our last presenter this evening, and that is Allison Parnes. She is a veterinarian. She's a dear friend of mine. She is an incredible human being. She has a farm, mother of 2. So Allison, if you'll share a little bit before we wrap this call up, that would be great.
Oh my gosh, you guys have all been amazing. And I love, Jennifer, the science overview you did. I was just, the way that you explained it is so perfect. And as Julie mentioned, I've been a veterinarian. Well, I'm a veterinarian in Georgia. I've been a veterinarian for 18 years, certified in veterinary acupuncture. I've always had an interest in holistic health. Integrative medicine has been my thing. And when I learned about Protandim about 7 years ago, I got really excited because I knew that there were a lot of animals having success with this. So not only humans, but also animals, because this NRF2 pathway is active in all of our cells in every mammal, and can be activated in every mammal. And just as humans, animals age, they get the same, very similar diseases as humans. We see oxidative stress being at the core of those diseases. And really, there was nothing in the veterinary world in terms of nutraceuticals and natural products that could fight oxidative stress. And, you know, we had all kinds of things on the shelves, different supplements for joints and heart and liver and kidneys and brain and all these things, you know. So it's like people were coming in wanting to do whatever they could for their pets, and we're sending them out the door with, you know, possibly pharmaceuticals, but also this whole slew of nutraceuticals that all, you know, affected different systems in the body. And really, when we look at disease, we know oxidative stress is at the core. And so that's what really drew me to Lifanage and Protandim, was understanding if we can get to the root cause of disease, which is oxidative stress, we can eliminate all these extra things that we're having to do to supplement our bodies. And so I actually had a patient that I had been doing acupuncture on. She was on every supplement. She was on every pain medication you can imagine. This dog had a horrible quality of life, 15-year-old beagle. And the owners were so attached to her, they could not make the decision to put her down. And every appointment she came in for acupuncture, we had the discussion of euthanasia, because this dog could barely walk. I mean, she had blown knees, blown hips, a horrible back. She couldn't really even squat to pee without falling over. The owners had to support her body for her to even go to the bathroom. And so it was just a constant thing. I thought for sure, you know, within a few months, we were going to have to be making that decision. And it was crazy because right around that time was when I learned about Protandim. I really started researching it, had another veterinary friend of mine who was using it in her practice and said, I'm seeing results like I've never seen, and, you know, with other things I've tried. And so I offered it to these owners. I said, listen, I don't know what this is going to do for her. The research looks great. I've heard testimonials from another doctor friend of mine. If you want to try it, I mean, let's do it. And of course, they were willing to try everything. And so this was literally the first patient I tried on Protandim, which actually the company made a dog version called Pet Tandem, but they can be used interchangeably. But there is a flavored, chewable version of the same Protandim NRF2 for dogs. And so we started her on it, and she started, her vitality, her energy, her personality started kind of coming back, and to the point where the owners hadn't seen that in years. And 6 weeks into starting her on this, they actually texted me a video of her in their backyard doing a little jumpy twirl that she had not done in years since she was young. And I mean, they were so overjoyed and elated, like at how much she was able to improve. We were weaning her off of different prescription medications because many of those sedated her, and we were finding we needed less of those medications now that we were activating her body. And this dog lived another year of good quality of life, actually ended up being put down from a heart condition that she had. And, you know, she was old, but you know, a year prior to that, we almost put her down for mobility and pain. And that was not the reason she ended up passing. And that, to me, was such a huge, I mean, I became on fire about it. And I started telling all of my clients and all of my acupuncture patients, I'm like, listen, this is what we need. This is the best bang for your buck. We target oxidative stress. We activate these genetic pathways in the body. We don't need all these extra supplements. You're going to save money, and you're going to help these animals in much bigger ways. And, you know, so that to me was such a huge thing in my practice, and a shift of like, let's get to the root. And I will just say one more thing, because we've been talking about true science, and this is actually a really funny story. I'm going to try to make it quick, but I had this really old patient. She was like 16 years old. And, you know, these dogs sometimes will get these gross, like warty growths that bleed, and they scratch them. And it's like, they're not cancerous, but they're really just annoying and irritating to the dog. And so this dog kept coming in, and it was on her head. She kept scratching it. It was gross. It would get infected and irritating and red and swollen. And so we tried antibiotics. We tried steroid creams. We tried e-collars, like all these different things to help this dog get this mask, because they didn't want to do surgery, and, you know, because of her age. And so nothing was really working. And so I actually had my True Science anti-aging cream in my purse. And I wanted to do an experiment with this dog, because I know, like, nerve to activation on your skin and how powerful it is for humans. And so I actually pumped some of my True Science aging cream into a pill vial. And I didn't tell the owners what it was. I just said, let's just try this experiment. I'm going to give you this, and let's do this for a week. Put it on this like little growth twice a day for a week. Come back and see me. Let's see how it does. A week later, they come back and they go, what is this stuff? This growth had shrunk in half. There was no redness, no swelling. The dog wasn't scratching at it. It wasn't bleeding. It worked better than any prescription that we had tried this dog. And they were like, what is this? And then I had to tell them it was my anti-aging cream. And it was so funny. They were like, what? I go, it is a little pricey, but I mean, you know, it might be worth it at this point for all these vet visits you're coming in for this thing. And so anyway, that's just sort of an animal testimony with the True Science. You know, again, works the same in animals as it does people. And it's amazing, amazing product. So thank you for letting me share, guys.
Thank you, Allison. I love that. I've never heard a doggy story with True Science. So thank you for sharing that. That is really cool. There's an app, you guys, before I end the call, called Think Dirty, and you can put in, it's called Think Dirty, and you can put in any product and it will tell you how clean the product is. And I just want to throw that out there, because our products are extremely clean, like at the very, very cleanest levels that you can get on that app. So that's another thing with our True Science and our other products. I know we went a little bit over our time, but I really like to kind of bring home the fact of what this is that we do. And as a lot of you, this may be, like I said, your first time hearing this. We work as a team. We create a network of people that care about health and wellness and helping people. There's a lot of sick people out there, but there's also a lot of people out there that have sick bank accounts. And especially right now, you probably know a handful, if not everybody is struggling or nervous or concerned about the future with what's going on in the world. And I just think it's such a great gift to be able to give someone another way to create income in their life. And that's truly what this is. And we create income while we sleep. We build it together. It's been such a beautiful thing in my life, as well as all the presenters that have shared. So thank you for joining us. I do like to end with a little bit of a call of action, just to let you guys know, usually at this point, you've heard the information. You think, wow, this is crazy good stuff. I want to start taking this. I want this cream on my face. I want to put it on my animals. B, you're like, I need more information. I want to get a little bit more information. I want to know more about the science. Or C, you see the bigger picture. You're like, I want the products. I want to build residual income. I want a different life. I'm ready to go. So please do me a favor. Call the person who invited you to this call. Thank them for thinking of them. Thank them for thinking of you. Let them know if you're A, B, or C. And we hope to see you again. So with that, have a wonderful Wednesday afternoon, evening. Aloha, everybody. Take care.